Let us see what is meant by electric shock. What are the safety measures? Electric shock is the sudden discharge of current from live conductor to human body. If any insulation failure occur, if any faulty equipment if you touch, then you can observe a mild shock, electric shock. That is meant, what is meant by electric shock? Electric shock is the sudden discharge of current through human body, then the human suffers from electric shock. An electric shock occurs when someone touches the live contact of electrical wires. Any electric shock occurs when someone comes in contact with an electrical energy source, or it is the physiological and reaction on injury caused by electric current, AC or DC, passing through human body. If you touch the electrical apparatus, if any happens in drilling type or in washing machines or in machines, if the body, the broken terminals or causes electric shock, the body becomes part of an electrical path. The body becomes part of an electrical path. Normally, the path of electric current is in wires. Whenever the wire insulation failure occurs, then the current will flow through the human body. Sudden discharge of current will take place through human body. Then the fatal reaction is called electric shock. The ground fault energizes from the metal. You can see if the current flowing in ground part of the metal, then if you touch, then if you are not wearing the shoe, then electric shock, electric current will passes through the earth, through the human body, then it is called electric shock. You can see here, if the circuit is flowing, if the person touched and the person is not wearing shoe or like that, then current will passes through ground by through human body. To avoid this electric shock, what are the precautions we have to consider? Let us see. Safety precautions and regulations for to avoid electric shock. The best method of protection against electric shock is insulation. If you wear the insulation properly, then the electric shock can be avoided. Of course, the live conductor has failure of insulation. Then if you wear a hand gloves made with rubber, then insulation can cause avoid of electric shock. To avoid electric shock, insulation of the conductor and insulation of the worker provide protection against electric shock, and different precautions if you consider, then you can avoid electric shock. One is always switch off the mains. One is always switch off the mains before the shock, before working on any electrical equipment. Always switch off the mains, then power supply will be disappear, then you can touch the conductors. Always use the correct size of fuse while replacing the blown fuse. If the fuse is melted, if any fault occur in the equipment or home, if the fuse is melted or blown, then if you not using correct size of the fuse, then you can't protect the equipment and human. Safety depends on earthing also. In your home, if the good earthing is provided, then safety can be easily provided for human. If any fault occur, if any electric shock occur, that may be reduced. Be aware of live wires or conductors or insulated. It must be, you have to touch the live wires by using rubber gloves only. Before replacement of any electrical requirements, be sure switch off it. Be sure that all connections are tight. If any loose connections are there, those may be fallen when you are working. If you are working on the inductive circuit, cable discharge them. If you are working on inductive circuit or capacitive circuit, because inductive and capacitive both will store energy, then first we have to discharge the capacitor or inductor, then only we have to work. Put the safety belt when you are working above the ground level. These are some precautions that must be followed. Never disconnect plug point by pulling the flexible wires. Use the proper socket and plug. Never tamper unnecessarily with electrical apparatus. Never touch overhead lines unless you are sure that it is dead and properly earthed. The transmission line should be properly earthed, then only you have to touch. Of course, there is no power. If somebody switched on, then power may be get sudden cause of death for the person who is working on transmission line. Therefore, you must transmission line should be connected to ground before you enter into the pole. Never energize lines unless you are clear and unworking. These are some precautions we must follow for electric shock.